Well, we're back with another review episode. Week 11 was just absolutely crazy. Had a couple really crazy games, some so-so games. Really nothing upsetting, I guess, happened this week. Really no upsets. Everything kind of went like we thought it would go. No higher ranked teams got beat by anybody that they shouldn't have got beat by. But there were some top ones. I mean, some games that we thought might not have been as tight as they ended up being. Couple of them that, well, really three games off the top of my head that I can think of that probably were a little closer than they should have been. But we'll go ahead and dive right into it, man. The first game that we're going to talk about on this episode is going to be what we considered the game of the week last week, and that was BYU versus Texas Tech. If I'm not mistaken, Mike, you and I got this one right, man. We both picked Texas Tech to win this game last episode, did we not?
Yeah, man, we did. Yeah, just kind of what we expected. I don't know what it was being at Texas Tech, and I just felt like Texas Tech was honestly kind of the better team. Um, wanted to throw some love to BYU. I mean, they hadn't lost at this point,
Right.
but just their style of offense, man, is more. It's not a come from behind offense once they're down. It's not a explosive offense by any means. And they just they got behind in this game. They were down 10-0 in the first quarter,
Yeah.
and that's just not their style of play at that point. And maybe not so much didn't end up being the game of the weekend necessarily,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean it was deserving for us to give it that title going into it. I just think unfortunately for BYU, they just didn't have the firepower to really compete there in this game with Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean, BYU went scoreless the entire game, minus the fourth quarter. They finally scored a touchdown there in the fourth. Um, there were moments in this game where you thought maybe there was going to be a turnaround and maybe it was going to kind of not necessarily swing the opposite direction, but at least be kind of competitive, because even though 13-0 at halftime is not really, you wouldn't consider that a blowout or anything like that, but
No.
there were things throughout the course of the game, even though the score wasn't massive, that just spoke volumes to how much a better team Texas Tech really is, in my opinion. Unbeaten team went down. I mean, BYU, like you said, was unbeaten to that point, actually ranked higher than Texas Tech going into that game by one spot, but still ranked higher. But yeah, man, Texas Tech Red Raiders, such a cool name too, by the way. I figure I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah,
But
man, cool.
this game was kind of interesting. I mean, Texas Tech had 368 total yards of offense. Kind of, I wouldn't say split it right down the middle, but it was an even balanced game for them. Little over 200 passing yards, almost 150 rushing yards. So well balanced attack. And I think that just speaks volume to any good team. If you look at good teams in college football, they're not one-sided. I guess you could say
Right.
they're running the ball good, they're throwing the ball good offensively, and then obviously to shut a team out for 3 straight quarters, they're obviously playing good defense. So yeah, man, shout out to the Red Raiders.
Yeah, honestly it's cool to see them like in the top 10 and having a good season, and
Yep.
it was cool to see BYU there as well. They definitely think they still have a lot to play for this season. I just don't um, I don't know. It's like I couldn't see them as because I said I picked against them one week there that they ended up winning, and going into this game I kind of hinted that I was going to pick at them.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't pick them over Texas Tech, and it's just I just don't feel like they were that they are a playoff caliber team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just don't. I don't think they have the offensive firepower to showcase that.
Right.
So in this game, I think kind of proved that they were outmatched.
Yeah, and in a game like this, man, I mean, both teams that neither team played really clean. You didn't really have very many penalties in this game, though, but there were a lot of punts. So I know that we talked about, obviously Texas Tech won this game 29-7. Texas Tech punted the ball 5 times, man. So they had tons of opportunities to run the score up even higher than that. And in my opinion, I mean, you You score 29 points and only let the other team score 7 on you, but you punt the ball 5 times as well. I mean, what if you'd have turned even just 3 of those into touchdowns, or even 2 of them? Really, I mean, this game looks like an absolute massacre at that point. So,
And I watch this through and through. That could also, speak some volumes on BYU's defense trying to hang
yeah,
in there.
sure,
And kind of also looking at that, if you cause a team to punt 5 times, you probably had some opportunities to put up more than 7 points.
exactly,
And
exactly.
probably missed some opportunities. And I know one, I didn't watch the entire game, like I said, but I know at one part I was watching, and there was a moment like that with BYU, and I can't remember if it was a turnover or something that happened. They were in Texas Tech territory and missed an opportunity, and so there probably was definitely some missed opportunities for BYU, like you said, that would seem like they were going to get back into this and then couldn't
Yep,
get back into it.
yep.
So that's kudos to their defense as well. Try to hold it, in there as best they could. But
Yeah, yeah. Interesting fact that foreshadows what we'll be discussing at the end of the episode, which is always the Tuesday episode AP poll reaction. The state of Texas has 3 teams in the top 10. So that's pretty interesting to see there. That they say that football's different down there in the state of Texas. I know they typically are talking about high school football, but looks like
yep,
college football is representing this year too, man.
starting to look like it, man.
For sure, dude, for sure. Another cool thing that I found out about Texas Tech, because obviously we don't really know too much about Texas Tech. I mean, I've never followed them that much.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I heard and read and have seen multiple reactions that Texas Tech has arguably the best football facilities in all of college football.
Hmm. That's
It's just a
interesting
fun,
to look at.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a fun fact, and maybe we could YouTube it. Maybe we could look at it, look into it, and
Yeah.
see for ourselves. But I have read that and heard that on multiple different occasions from multiple sources. So I just thought
Yeah.
that'd be a fun fact to throw in.
Any Texas Tech fans know anything about that out there? Let us know.
Yeah, and you can be biased if you want, because all we gotta do is
Yeah.
Google, and we'll form our own
Yeah.
opinion on. Oh man,
I have a feeling Texas A&M, they might have something different to say. But
of course, yeah. I mean, anytime you think SEC or places like Ohio State or
yeah.
historic schools like Notre Dame, places like that, you just automatically assume that they may have the best
Yeah.
facilities in the nation. But I don't know, dude. I'm gonna look into it myself and see what I think about it.
We'll judge it and we'll let everybody know after we watch some videos on it, see what we think.
Yeah, because dude, if you think about it, man, when it comes to like recruiting players and stuff like that, kids nowadays, I don't know that kids nowadays are so much just sold on like program tradition and stuff like that. They're coming to schools for like, besides money, we all know that. Not to go off on a rabbit hole here, but
Yeah.
kids nowadays, man, when they walk into a weight room or walk into a campus or walk into just a football facility in
Yeah.
general, they're looking at that. They're looking at how everything's styled. They're looking at uniforms, helmets, stuff like that. So it's a different
Oh,
world,
yeah.
man. Different world.
Yeah, for sure, man. They want some of that material thing, kind of
Yeah.
some, something that kind of flashy to them a little bit when they walk in. What's going to
It,
catch the eye a little bit. Um,
exactly.
you know,
Exactly, man.
I'm not all about like lining up Lambos down the football field or anything, Texas, but
Yeah, they do that in Texas, man.
that's the world we're in, man. They, that's the college recruiting type world. It's more than just throwing out the money now. Also with the with kind of the the style points, I guess you could say, with some of that stuff,
Yeah,
the locker rooms and all that. So it does matter.
100%. Yeah, 100%, man. Um, and every school's kind of changing their tactics to kind of match what certain
Yeah,
big schools are doing that are reeling in big time players.
yeah, I
So
agree.
if you're cool to move on, I'm cool to move on. That was a good game. Like you said, it's cool to see Texas Tech finding some success this year. It's not often that you see them mentioned in this regard. Um, so that was what we considered the Fourth and Whatever podcast game of the week on last Friday's episode. But after sitting through a Saturday of college football and watching these games and watching how everything's played out, the game of the weekend, I guess you could say, and which was really the most exciting game to watch, and especially the ending, man. I know you and I were texting back and forth a lot during this game, especially the tail end of it there. Indiana versus Penn State. Now, the way the season's played out for Penn State, you wouldn't think that we would be speaking about them in this light, but they showed some life against Indiana. Every big team that's finding success at some point in the season does have a little dip against a certain team.
Yeah.
And it's typically a team that they probably shouldn't struggle against. But here you had number 2 Indiana versus Penn State in a super, super close game that came down to the wire. Final score of this one was 27-24. Man, what a classic. In the video games, I don't know if the new one does it, but like NCAA 14 and older, they used after you played a really close game, it popped up on your screen that said ESPN Instant Classic.
Instant Classic.
And
Oh, yeah.
and I would definitely stamp this as one of those ESPN Instant Classic type games, man.
Yeah, man. And a game that honestly surprised me. Indiana's been killing teams this year. I think the only close game that they had, maybe like I think for the first game of the season, they had a close game they probably shouldn't have, and then with Oregon, and that's really been it. And it kind of looked like they were going to do that in this game at first, that they were going to kind of run away with this. But Penn State at home, man, they found some life. Their running back, he's a great running back, man. That's the thing is like, Penn State's record right now and how their season's gone, people forget they're still 5-star players. I don't know that he's a 5-star, but you know what I mean. There's still
Yeah.
big time players out there on this team, and
Mhm.
he's a top notch running back, man. And he had a great game, and he got going in this one, and then Penn State just come roaring back, man, and looked like they were going to win this football game.
Yeah.
And had to be a heartbreaker for them, just considering. They had them. I mean, this would have been a big win for that program with all they've had going on. And Indiana almost made her upset alert, man. But
For
you
sure.
said it. Every team's going to have a game, and in the college football world we have now, there's going to be a game where maybe you shouldn't have a close game against this team, or you're going to struggle, and you're going to have a moment. A lot of people think this is Indiana getting exposed. This is Indiana getting exposed. I think Indiana just might have got a little lax with this one. Thought they were going to take off with it. Penn State come roaring back at home, caught momentum, man, and anything can happen in this college football world. But what showed Indiana as a great team is at the very end of the game they found a way to win and they overcame it, and that's what great teams do. In a game that they shouldn't be maybe in a close moment or a game where they're kind of down and having a little bit of an off day, they find ways to win. And man, did they find a way to win. That catch at the end has got to be catch of the year. And no doubt, I haven't seen anybody arguing this, so I'm not even going to bring it up like people are arguing it. But you can't argue it. You know what I mean? I mean, it was very clear. He got
Yep.
the his feet down. They got the toes down, I should say. But he got a toe in bounds, man, and that was a catch all day long.
Yep.
And a great catch.
Yep.
So it was an exciting game. I mean, to say the least. I mean, I know I kind of rambled there for a minute on that, but it was definitely my favorite game of the weekend. I'm glad Indiana won though, because I wanted them to,
Yep.
I'm kind of pulling for them some this season, man. I mean, I'd like to see them do well.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you, man. And speaking about the catch and just the obvious, like once they slowed it down and showed the replay in fast motion, I felt like I saw it in fast motion as well. But then, of course, I started doubting myself and started doubting the catch just because of the inbound situation. But I do want to give a quick shout out to the referee that was standing on the outer edge right there, who initially called it a touchdown.
Yeah,
I mean,
great call.
yeah, you can watch it. As soon as the ball hits the receiver's hands, he doesn't pay attention to any else. He instantly starts looking down. And referees so far this year across college football in general haven't been the best. I think it's pretty widely known. I'm not bringing like shocking breaking news to anyone listening to this. I think there's been a lot of questionable play calls. There's been games lost because of bad plays this season
Yeah.
for certain teams, and it's really becoming a national issue in the college football game. But anyway, that attention to detail and that awareness, I guess, to just kind of stop everything that referee was doing in that moment and just look down because you can watch him on camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, incredible play by the wide receiver, man. Just the ability. Those
Mhm.
guys are freak athletes, man. I mean, what they can do. The catch itself was pretty, normal, I guess you could say, but it's what he did going out of bounds and slowing down and tapping that foot, and
Yeah.
it was just incredible.
The awareness, man, was
Yeah,
insane.
the awareness was insane. The game itself was insane.
Yeah.
And looking at this is pretty shocking, dude. This just goes to show you how tight of a game was, how tight of a game it was. Um, Total yards for both teams. There's only a 10-yard separation for total yards between the two teams.
Man,
Penn, yeah, Penn State had 336 total yards. Indiana had 326 total yards. Passing yards was almost identical, 219 for Penn State, 218 for Indiana. And then the rushing yards, 117 Penn State, 108 rushing for Indiana. So just crazy. Both teams averaged 5.3 yards a play. I mean, it's just dead center
yeah,
even on these team statistics when it comes to the yardage. And you don't see that. I mean, even in tight games, I feel like you don't see it that even.
yeah,
Usually one team either runs the ball really well and the other team passes the ball really well, or vice versa. But these two teams, they just went head to. This is the true definition of head
crazy.
to head. I mean, play
Yeah.
for play. It was incredible. It was a really, really, really good game to watch, man. I'm so glad I tuned into this one.
Yeah, dude, and I'm glad we was able to, kind of text back and forth while knowing both seeing this game. This is probably the one I paid most attention to be honest, Saturday.
Yep.
Um, and I'm glad I did. And I just want to also add, man, on that when we're talking about the catch and everything. Also, a shout out though to Mendoza, man, to throw that football right where it needed. Guy in his face, getting hit
Yep.
as he's throwing it, insane pressure on him, and he threw that ball where only his receiver can catch it. I
Yep.
mean, it was high and in the back of the end zone, and he gave him the chance.
Yep.
And
And
just
and,
a
and he
clutch
he's
moment.
been he's been doing that all season, man. He's
Yeah,
looked so good all season. Um, and he did that obviously throughout the entire game. Um, I feel like so the turnover battle. We talk about that a lot on this podcast,
yeah,
and it's we always say that whoever wins the turnover battle most likely win the game, and that's where Penn State pretty much lost this game. I mean,
hmm
both teams had an interception, but that's where Indiana drew the line. Penn State also coughed up a fumble in this game, so they lost the turnover battle 2-1 in
yeah,
this one. If you don't fumble the ball on that drive right there, who knows what happens, right? I mean, I'm not trying to take away from anything Indiana did or anything like that, but it's just interesting to see when the stats are laid out in front of you how the game played out, and watching it.
right.
Obviously, we know how it played out, but that I just wanted to bring that up too because the turnover battle, man, if you can just find a way to win that battle every game, you're giving yourself a huge chance to win.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. And Mendoza, when he threw the interception, it was late, but
Yep. Yep.
them getting the other chance and being able to bounce back from that was also impressive.
Yep.
But like you said, that turnover battle is always huge in a game, unless it's just one of those weird games where maybe
Right.
it's a team that I don't know that can't hang with you, and you still
Yep.
somehow get some turnovers. But typically that seems to be how it goes, man, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and tight games against on paper evenly matched opponents. Now I'm talking about
Oh yeah,
both teams have 5 stars and 4 star. I mean, obviously a small school can go with no turnovers and still get throttled by a big
right.
time school. I mean, I'm not saying
Yeah.
that, but
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah,
but yeah, man, what a game. And um, I just think that it speaks volumes, like you said earlier when you kind of opened up your part of this one. Just the will to bounce back, to not give up. You
mhm,
don't you only see that in those special teams. You know what I mean? Every
yeah,
year there's a handful of special teams that just play ball. They just play ball differently, man. And they don't give up when they're down. It's almost like they play better when they're down, and that's a
yeah,
scary thought for any team that plays Indiana moving forward. And I'm a huge believer
for
in their
sure.
coach, man. Before the season started, we kind of looked into Kurt Signetti and we kind of looked at his track record and all his stops in his college football career. And man, the dude is an absolute monster. He's a winner. Everywhere he goes, he touches it and it turns to gold. He wins everywhere he goes. Um, what a run that he's on right now at Indiana. It's insane, man.
Absolutely, man. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do, man. I think Indiana's going to be right there.
Yep. Yep.
And I think we're going to be in for a monumental, Big Ten championship between Ohio State and Indiana.
It's got to, yep.
I think that's going to answer some questions about things this season.
Yeah.
And that'll be just a monumental game.
Yep.
1-2. I mean, I'm not saying I don't think Ohio State should be number one right now. Everybody listening out there, but I have said this before. I don't think the gap is as big as what people think, and I think that'll be a big game. And I will be pulling for Indiana if anybody was wondering, and I think that's pretty obvious from the past on here. So, but another reason I didn't want them to lose yesterday, I was like, man, I need that momentum. That was like a close one. Like, okay, we gotta bounce back from that still, but it's a lot easier to bounce back from that than a loss. So
right.
But yeah, I think it's and just if you love college football, you gotta want them to be number one and number two, right? Playing each other in a conference championship game. That's what it's about right there, man. Those big games like that, and I think everybody would agree that they'd want to see that. The only way I'm okay with that getting messed up a little bit is if Ohio State loses to Michigan at the end of the season. I just think it'd be hilarious. Other than that, I'll be cool with that 1-2 matchup.
Definitely give us some talking points on the podcast that week, man, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Ohio State fans better hope that they don't lose a game coming up anytime soon. So I'm going to talk about it.
It's crazy, though, man. College football, week by week, it's proven itself this year, man. Every game's losable. Every single game is losable, man.
For sure, man.
So kind of moving out of the those games and kind of moving into SEC play here, got a couple ones that we're going to rattle off here. Texas A&M versus Missouri. Personally, I thought that this would be a little bit closer of a game. Ended up being kind of a I don't know what you really consider a blowout, but it just looked like Texas A&M was the better team the whole game. I'll just say that. The first half was definitely rough for Missouri. They couldn't score at all. And then they found a little bit of success scoring there in the second half, but it was just too late, man. Starting 14-0 at starting the second half, you're just not going to find much success, I don't think. Final score of this one, 38-17. Texas A&M remains unbeaten, the only unbeaten school in the SEC. Yeah, what do you got on this one, man? I know you want to talk a little bit about Texas A&M.
Yeah, man. And I wouldn't, like you said, I wouldn't. Depends on what you consider a blowout, but definitely dominant. I mean, you win by 21 points. That's a dominant win. That's not a close game. That's not a nail biter or anything. And Missouri's a team that was right there close with Alabama. Alabama barely beat them at Missouri, and so they're definitely played tough against some teams. But Texas just dominated, or Texas A&M, excuse me, just dominated them, man. And I just think that Texas A&M, that proved for me the way they've done that and the way they handled LSU the last couple of weeks have just been dominant, and I think are starting to really get it together here at the end of the season with the more consistency, because they were a little bit inconsistent at times this year with some close games. You're kind of like just watched them kind of keep going up, but now, man, I mean, they look like that number 3 team in the nation. They look like a top team for sure. And I think that Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M is kind of separating herself a little bit. And Bama's right there. It's not a knock on Bama. Bama and Georgia, they're of course right there. But I just think right now Texas A&M is definitely, in my opinion, is the best team in the SEC at this point in time.
I agree. Yeah. There's no doubt about it, man. And you almost keep waiting for a team like that to fall. I mean, not fall off completely, but you keep waiting on a team like that to at least lose a game. And with Missouri and their history of how they play defense and things of that nature, it being on the road at Missouri, like I said, I didn't think that I didn't know if I felt like Texas A&M was going to lose this game, I just thought that it would be a little bit tougher of a battle. So that right there just proves everything that we thought about Texas A&M being true. I think Marcel Reed, the quarterback down there, is playing phenomenal football. He's looking great. Obviously, anytime your team's undefeated, your quarterback's got to give a little bit of praise. But it's the way that Texas A&M plays defense for me that really, really, really impresses me, man. And
Yeah.
I watched them a little bit all throughout the season. But when I saw and I know LSU has struggled on offense. Let me make this clear. I know LSU has struggled on offense. But regardless of that fact, last week at night at Death Valley, what Texas A&M did to LSU in that second half was just pure obliteration, man. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just insane. So the fact that they can do that and what they did in this game, obviously, man,
Yeah.
it's been a long time since Texas A&M has found this type of success. So obviously, they're riding the wave, they're
Yeah.
riding high, man. And we said it in the last episode. I personally feel like, and Mike, you can agree or disagree, but I personally feel like those top three teams are interchangeable, man. You could make a strong case for A&M to be the number one team in the nation, could you not?
Yeah, I mean, I just think some of the significant wins they've had, which Missouri's now knocked out of the rankings after this
Right.
game, but they were ranked, and it because the thing is, and Ohio State, has looked the most dominant, I would say so far,
Yeah.
just based off their performances and who they played. And I mean, they at this point, the Texas win is looking good. I mean, Texas is a
Yeah.
top team in the nation.
100%.
So there for a while, that wasn't looking too good, but you can't really take that away from them. But every one of them's got kind of their claim there. Texas
Hmm.
getting beat, A&M the way they've been handling teams here recently.
Yep.
Indiana beating Oregon. So yeah, I'm okay with it being the 1, 2, 3 they got. And then
Sure.
honestly, until one of these teams like lose or something, or starts looking rough for one of them, or one of them has a real big win, then
Yep.
I'm okay with that. But yeah, I think these are the top three teams and undefeated for a reason. And I can see that. Everybody can kind of make their case. One thing I like about Texas A&M too is they're well rounded. I mean, with
Yep.
the very balanced rush game, and passing game, and then
Yep.
on defense. This
Yep.
game, Marcel Reed was 20 for 29. He was 221 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he runs. He ran for 29 yards, but the running back had 102 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
So they just have that, a lot of balance there as well.
Yep.
And that's something this game I think showed for me. Um,
Yep.
there's people out there that would say, oh well, the SEC is just overrated. I've seen that with the ranked wins that teams have, but come on, the SEC's got 3, 4, 5, and 6 right now.
Yep.
So just keep that in mind. I don't think that you can be overrated when you have that many teams. And also they got the 10 spot.
Yeah.
I mean, we got the 11 spot. Let's I mean, it's just let's just how
And
it is,
13.
man. Yeah, and so I think that you can't just sit here and say everybody in the SEC is overrated when these teams are up in these rankings. I can make that case about any division. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
if I'm going to go into that, I mean, the ACC, they're probably going to have someone in the playoffs that ain't even going to be a top 12 team in the nation before it's all said and done.
That's true.
To be a conference champ, that's probably not going to be top 12. You know, um, Big Ten, we know they got Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon, but
Mhm.
those teams, two of them's played each other, Oregon and Ohio State,
Yep.
or Oregon, excuse me, Oregon and Indiana. But who are those teams playing? You know what I mean? So you can always make a case that there's overrated and who they play
Yep.
and what their schedule is. Just it depends on how you want to look at it, I guess, and how you want to try to.
True.
People bend things how they want to. But
Yeah.
I just don't think that many teams being in a top ranking is gonna, um, and they say bias, but look what the SEC's done for years. So,
Yeah.
I know the last couple of the Big Ten's making arguments. I mean, they got the top two teams in the nation right now, and then Oregon
Yep.
they got 3 out of the top 10. So,
Yep.
sorry, that's just kind of a rant, but it's just something I see a lot. So,
Yeah. No, you're
and I
exactly
think
right, man. I
A&M
think
definitely deserves to be there where they're at.
yeah, and I wasn't saying A&M should be number one. I'm just saying I think you could easily make a case for one, two, or three to be completely interchangeable. And what you're going to find, and it'll never change. Whatever a person's favorite team's conference that they're in, they're going to naturally pull for a certain conference and all that good stuff. You and I grew up in the South. We grew up Tennessee fans,
Yeah.
so naturally we're going to lean SEC.
Right.
Anybody born up north is going to lean whatever. It just is what it is. But I just love the parody of college football this season, man. It's been
Yeah.
so much fun. It's been so exciting to watch. Um, Tapping back into Texas A&M's the rest of their schedule real quick, and then we'll move on. They have a pretty favorable schedule to finish the season out. They stay at home next week against South Carolina. So I mean, South Carolina's had their major struggles this season. And then they catch a really good break, kind of an easy game, so to speak. They stay at home again for that one at Samford,
Oh.
not Stanford, but Samford.
Sanford. Yeah.
Yeah, not a team you've heard of like
Yeah.
Stanford. This is Samford. And then the big one, man. Their very last game of the season has an opportunity to be a huge, massive game with potential playoff implications if things go Texas's way. At the end of the season, Texas A&M versus Texas.
Yeah.
That's going to be cinematic. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
But
That'll
yeah,
be a
man.
great game.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. So another game that we had that we talked about on the last episode was Oregon Iowa. Now this one was an absolute nail biter, very low scoring game. Neither team really put up that many crazy statistics. Their quarter Dante Moore for Oregon only threw for 112 yards, no
Yeah.
touchdowns, one interception. Iowa's quarterback threw for 138 yards, one touchdown, no interception. So it's like there really wasn't that much going on in this game. It was just a true, absolute battle. And I texted you before this game started, and I said, and I didn't say this in the episode Friday, but I'm just going to go ahead and bring it to light. We could bury it and make it seem like I never said this, but I just want to say that I did say this. I texted Michael before this game particularly started, and I said Oregon gets beat by Iowa today, or something
Yeah.
along those lines. Iowa beats Oregon. And man, was I almost right,
Yeah.
man. I mean, 18-16. What a crazy nail biter game. Oregon. I feel like Oregon teams in the past don't come out with this win.
Yeah.
I've been like a shadow fan of Oregon for a long time, and I wouldn't even say fan really. I've just kind of closely watched Oregon for a long time just because of my brother-in-law. He's a big Oregon Duck fan. So I always kind of keep up with what they're going on, and
Mhm.
he could correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't feel like past Oregon teams find a way to win in games like this. And this year they found a way to win. So shout out to the
Yeah.
Ducks. They are 8-1, by the way. Everybody's kind of writing them off. Nobody's really talking about them. They're just that third
Yeah.
wheel in the Big Ten. But man, 8-1. I mean, come on, dude. That's a fighting chance, more than a fighting chance. Yeah,
Yep.
Oregon's a scary team, man.
And I know what you mean about that. I like Oregon. I really do. And I know what you mean. They've always seemed to have that game where they drop, and this would have been that game you would have thought. But yeah, their only loss is a close one against
Yep,
Indiana. So I definitely think Oregon's a tough team, man, and I think they're going to be right there in the playoffs. And it
100%.
and it is easy to kind of write them off some because the attention kind of goes to Oregon or it goes to Ohio State, goes to Indiana instead of Oregon, and but they're going to be right there. And once you're in the playoffs, man, you have a chance. Um,
Yeah,
because you never know when it's going to. I mean, Ohio State fans can attest for that. Last year Ohio State didn't look tough going into the playoffs. I mean, they just come
they
off of a
didn't.
loss against Michigan. They played all season long with some like close games that seemed to um, look like they were going to lose or something. They just didn't look as tough. And then all of a sudden, time came in. That's when they stepped it up. So if you can get to the playoffs and you can make things happen, that's definitely for sure and true. But this game, I did stick to my guns on this one. I said that Oregon was going to win it,
Yep.
um, but it was it was definitely closer than what I was imagining with 18 to
Oh yeah.
16, and yeah,
Oh
not what I
yeah.
expected there. But did stick with it. I'm glad they won. I like to see them do well too. So
100%,
I
100%.
like to see them make the playoffs and stuff. So big game for
I
them to
just
win that though, because that would have made it a lot harder to make playoffs with that loss. So
Yep. And I think the reason I texted you and I admitted to it, I was just like, man, I just want to be right for
yeah,
I want to
yeah,
be right for something that shouldn't be right. You know what I mean?
yeah. It
I just
happens.
be
Sometimes you just get a feeling that day too. You're like,
yeah,
I just think,
yeah.
yeah.
And what
So
a close game, like I said, nail biter. Moving back to the SEC real quick. We've got a couple more games here to talk about, and then we'll dive into that AP poll reaction. Little brother, we haven't called him little brother in a while. I accidentally just let that slip, by the way. Vanderbilt beats
yeah,
Auburn. Vanderbilt keeps finding ways to win, man. And in this one, dude, I mean, if you want to know my opinion, Vanderbilt might not might not should have won this game if that makes sense. I mean, it was a crazy game, close game, 45-38. Vanderbilt just continues to find ways to win. Diego Pavius continues to find ways to light up the statistics. 377 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's a
yeah.
baller, dude. I'm done talking crap about him. I think I said that a couple weeks
Mhm.
ago. He's a baller, man. Whether you like his personality or his flamboyancy or whatever you want to call it, he's a baller, dude. And he wills that. I am a firm believer that he single handedly wills this team to win. His
Yeah,
energy, his swagger, his arrogance, his ego, whatever you want to say, I think that is what fuels this entire team. And Vanderbilt's, even though they've got 2 losses right now, they are on the outside looking in as far as the playoff picture is
mhm.
concerned, sitting there at number 13. Um, Most likely, I say that most likely they're on the outside looking in. But man, what a absolute season! I mean, this has to be all time top season for the Commodores, man.
Yeah, man. And yeah, like you said, honestly not, you know, beating Auburn 45-38 in overtime is it's not the most ideal looking type game, honestly. With Auburn just losing like they did to Kentucky and things that I mean, so it's not like your greatest moment, but again, it's teams are going to have moments where they have, and they got past it. Now, if
Yep,
they lost this game, we'd be talking about a total different thing. I think
of
if
course.
they lost this game, then I think you start seeing Vandy's season start to slip away from them.
Yeah,
Obviously, the playoffs will be gone at that point, but I think they got the game against Tennessee that's going to be there
yep,
end of the year and stuff like they still could lose some more games. Especially if they lost this game. I think
yep,
your momentum and like you're like as great as the season that you had, this game could have really um, put a lot of hurt on their season. And now they're still their hopes are still there. They're still alive in the playoff race. Um, they're going to probably have some things happen and make sure to win out. Um, but they won this game. They rallied. They got it done, and they, I'm not going to talk bad about it. Like I said, I wouldn't know on paper. You're probably not looking at it as exactly a great win um,
yep,
this year, but at this point, like college football is, man, sometimes you just got to win the game, no matter how you win
yep.
it.
Yep. And it seems like that's more prevalent than ever, especially in today's college football world. As long as you come out with a win, man, that's
Yeah,
really all that matters at the end of the day. So shout out to Vanderbilt. They found a way to win. They've got Kentucky next, and then, like you said, Tennessee. So
yeah,
um, who knows what they'll end up doing. The last game that I want to mention real quickly, and then we can, like I said, move on to the AP poll reaction because we have ran this episode a little longer than we thought we were going to, but it don't.
yeah.
It really doesn't matter. Probably outside of the shocking catch and ending of the Indiana Penn State game, I, and it's weird to say it's shocking, but it's just because of who did what. I guess you could say in this game and how they did it, man. And I'm just going to say it. This is probably the most shocking thing that I witnessed in college football this weekend or this past weekend, and that is the Kentucky Wildcats. Yes, I'm getting ready to say Kentucky Wildcats and throttled, not got throttled, but throttled a team. The Kentucky Wildcats throttled the Florida Gators this weekend, man. I mean, absolutely throttled them. Um, Halftime. the score was 24-7, excuse me. The halftime score 24-7. I don't know that Kentucky's put up 24 points in a half this season. They may have done it against Tennessee. I could be talking crazy right now, but regardless, dude, I mean, the Gators go scoreless after the first quarter, man. 0-0-0 second, third, and fourth quarters, man. It's just I know Florida's had a terrible season, but to get throttled by Kentucky is just low. It's like it's the lowest form of a beating that you can take in the SEC, man.
Yeah, especially like this year. And I don't think it's weird to say, man, that it's a shock because it is. It's a shock. When you
Yeah,
told me and I looked it up, I didn't even pay attention to that game, and I seen it
yeah.
was 38-7. If you want to see what rock bottom looks like, ask the Florida Gators. That was an absolutely embarrassing loss, and
Uh-huh.
in my opinion, the team had to give up. That had to be like a give up point of your season. They've
Yep.
played close against Georgia. They've taken some heartbreaking losses. Even with A&M there for a while, it was close. They beat Texas. They've had moments, right, where we've talked
Right.
about they're not a fun team to have to play because of how they could show up. But this Florida team that showed up was a new low, man. Because it's
Oh
all
yeah.
about which Florida team shows up, but this was I mean, it's terrible. And if I was a Florida Gator fan, man, I'm putting the paper bag on my head after that one and cutting the eye holes out and watching the rest of these games. Because man, that is rough. If Tennessee lost to Kentucky 38-7, you might not be seeing me watching much of a Tennessee game for the rest of the year, dude. That is
100%.
and yeah, and I might be talking crazy right now, and I know we still got to play Florida in the swamp, but
Yep.
and there'll be more about that when it comes up. But
Yep.
as far as this game, no matter what happens for the rest of Florida season, though, it's crazy embarrassing
Oh
um,
yeah.
as a
Oh
football
yeah.
program, man. And Kentucky fans might be like, "Man, you're showing a lot of hate towards us," and well, I am because you're not good. So, that you're not good enough to beat a Florida team 38-7. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That
And
was
they did
just
it, man.
yeah, and you did, yeah. I mean, obviously it happened, but
Right.
on paper, that shouldn't happen.
Right.
And
Right.
as I'm sure the Florida fan base is just in shambles right now. That
Yep.
because that
100%.
don't happen to you know how this don't happen to Florida much with Kentucky, man. I
No.
don't remember a time of them really getting spanked like that by Kentucky.
No.
So that's
No.
rough.
And when we say spanked, we're talking Kentucky put up 401 total yards in
Yeah.
this game. 233 rushing yards in this game. I mean, they averaged 6 yards a play. I mean, I could go on and on and on, man. It's just like I said, man. And they turned the ball over 4 times and still beat them 38-7.
So wild, dude.
So
Um,
I mean, they fumbled the ball 3 times and threw an interception. So what happens if you don't do that? I mean, the score of this game could have been insane, which it
hey,
is insane, but it could have been worse somehow.
listen, Kentucky fans, enjoy it, man. I mean,
Yep,
whatever. Like,
I would.
I would if I was a Tennessee fan. I mean, I am a Tennessee fan. If that would have been Tennessee doing that, I would have absolutely been enjoying every moment of that. And I kind of think it's hilarious. I'm actually, it ain't one of those things where I would pull for either one of these teams. But I think
Hmm.
if they could both lose, that'd be cool. But I think this is hilarious that this happened
Yeah,
to Florida. And I don't want to talk too much trash because we still got to play them. But at the same time,
yeah.
that's I don't. I mean, it
That's
speaks for itself. I don't have to talk trash.
yeah. That could be nothing but pure evidence of a team just giving up, just hanging their hat,
Yep.
just calling
Rough
it a
season.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't what everyone thought you were going to be. Your quarterback
Yep.
isn't who we thought he was going to be. Your coach got fired. It is. Whatever, man. I mean, it's been over, but it's over now.
Yeah.
All right.
It,
More
it's it
mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually.
recruits. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
there's you're getting hurting recruits at this point.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. Well, with that being said, man, we just dug Florida's grave for them. So let's just go ahead and talk about the AP poll and then get on out of here, man. Of
Sounds
course, we
good,
talk
man.
about the AP poll every Tuesday episode. That top five is unchanged this week from last week. You know, you've got Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Alabama, Georgia. I think those five teams, you mentioned it earlier in this episode, I think those five teams have pretty much cemented themselves. But, you know, all of those teams pretty much have some questionable games coming up, so all that could
Yep.
change. Um, we do always mention Tennessee in this somehow, and I guess it's just because of things that happened above Tennessee. Tennessee moved up 2 spots in the AP poll this week,
Hey,
and they
I
didn't
like
play.
these
So
bye weeks, man. I like these bye weeks. I don't have any pressure watching these games, and we keep moving up every time there's a bye week. So um, we'll win by 50 this game and not win, against like, which I know it's it's basically a glorified scrimmage, but we'll
uh,
watch us win by 50 in this next game coming up, and they won't move at all. But,
yeah, yeah, and really, other than Tennessee moving up, one of a couple things that I noticed just off rip, kind of cool. James Madison University crept into the top 25. They're
nice.
sitting at 24.
That is cool.
USF's sitting at 25 now. Pitt, who has secretly been having a pretty good season, creeps in at number 23. Yeah, it's Michigan keeps climbing.
Hmm.
Virginia keeps falling. Unfortunately, I thought they were off to a hot start, but they're kind of starting to kind of fall off a little bit. You see
Yeah.
anything that kind of sticks out to you in this, man?
Texas in that top 10, man.
That's true.
Texas is a team we've kind of, we wrote them off a little bit.
Yep. Early in
A
the
lot.
season, we
I mean,
did.
we did. We wrote them off, and they're top 10 right now. So
Yep.
they're very much alive in this playoff race.
Yep.
Something I noticed. Um, and yeah, I mean that was the big thing I noticed there. Not a lot of massive changes. Other than,
Yep.
like you said, some of the teams have kind of crept in there a little bit. Couples dropped some spots. Virginia, Louisville.
And
But
some of your top teams have kind of just either went up or down a spot. I mean, nothing major. But touching on Texas real quick, we talked about we might have talked about it in the last episode, but just the way that they've continued to get better as the season progressed. Um, and really sometimes in sports, man, you can kind of go back and look at it historically. And I think this happened to Ohio State last year. Getting hot at the right time
yeah,
is really important in this sport. And that could be what Texas is doing, man. They face a huge opponent this coming up weekend that we'll touch on in the Friday episode. But yeah, Texas in the top 10 after at one point this season they weren't even ranked. Am I correct?
they dropped out of the rankings. It was only for like a week, but they dropped out of the rankings.
Exactly. So to climb back into this thing
Yeah,
and be in the top 10 is really impressive. So
yeah,
we'll definitely keep an eye on that on the podcast because we really don't have much to talk about with Tennessee as far as playoff hopes are concerned for the rest of the season.
yeah.
But we'll definitely keep a close eye on some of these other teams. But Mike, man, that's all I've really got. Unless you've got anything else to add, man.
No, man, I think that's got it covered. Looking forward to this weekend. We got some big games to talk about. So,
Yep.
as usual, if you want to hear us talk more about them games coming up, make sure to like and subscribe. And we do appreciate the support. And we're just gonna keep on rolling with this thing, man. We're getting there towards the end of the season. It's just wild to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm good. You're good. And as always, man, it's been fun. And until the next one, dude, I'll see you at it.
All right, man. Take care, brother.